Deepa Rajendran, please mute your video camera.
Okay, now can we start and running?
So all these are students or some faculty members also have joined?
There are faculties also, advocates also, and other activists also that participating now.
Okay. Because my bandwidth is slightly low, Preeti. I'm switching off my video. Is it okay?
Ma'am, for initially, try to on your video, ma'am. We would like to see you in the
Introduction part, ma'am.
And later on, you can off your video.
Yes.
Initially, I'll switch it on, then I can off, no?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
For now, you do that. Mute खालामो. आं बुंबा खोनाहैनाय नङा. नों एडमिट खालामबाय थादो. जागायसै नामा?
Yeah, I'm starting now. Shall I start?
We will begin, ma'am. First of all, good morning to Shanti ma'am and to all the participants and our principal of Pokrajhar Law College and all the participants, students and friends who have joined from different parts of India. We are proud to have Madam with us as one of the speaker of today's technical session. This is the first technical session from the morning time. And today's topic in the morning, we have online child sexual abuse, insufficient laws and insufficient policies, the road ahead for India. So for this, we have Dr. KVK Shanti ma'am. She is an associate professor at Nalsar Law University, Hyderabad, and she teaches criminal law. And she has completed her LLM from Osmania University, specializing in criminal law. And she also did doctoral thesis at Osmania University itself on penal reforms in India. And she has taught criminal law, and she's still coordinating and teaching on this aspect. And she's also she has also taught at National Law University of Bhopal, and she also coordinated projects such as study of Indian Penal Code from gender perspective, commissioned by National Commission for Women. She continues teaching at present, and she has 5 years teaching continuously at Nalsar, and she's also a research associate in the project preparing for law on grievance redressal in public offices in Andhra Pradesh. So by Center for Good Governance, and she was also coordinator for the project to draft Amendment Act of Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994. Then also, along with that, National Disease Donor Transplantation Network Mumbai, and she's also involved in a project Defective Investigation Leading to Acquittals, commissioned by Bureau of Police Research Development, New Delhi, and a UGC major research project on sentencing perspective in state of Andhra Pradesh. She has also delivered lectures on Indian Penal Code and Criminal Procedure at NADT Nagpur and International Humanitarian and Women at ICRC New Delhi. She also coordinated a 3-day national workshop on advanced training to teachers in South Asian region on international humanitarian law and international criminal law. She also visited Max Planck Research Institute for International Criminal Law, Freiburg, as a guest researcher as a part of her postdoctoral research on punishment and sentencing. She has also submitted a report on counterfeit drugs in India to Max Planck under the guidance of Professor Dr. Hans Georg Koch. Dr. Santi has published articles on police torture, legal issues and remedies. So the significance of fair trial under human rights law in matters of criminal justice, a case study of the trial of former Iraqi leader, Mr. Saddam Hussein. She has also published book in Issues in Human Rights, edited by Azizur Rahman Chaudhary and Muhammad Zahid Hussain Bain, Sakat Alam, Atlantic in Bangladesh. And she's also a critic of the Transplantation of Human Organs Act in India. She has published a practical lawyer, and she participated in national and international seminars on issues like community sentence, law on sea, piracy, restorative justice in European countries, training in forensic law and cyber laws. So today we are very much privileged to have you, ma'am, on our behalf, and we hope our participants and we will be enlightened by your presentations, by your deliberation over this topic on online child abuse, insufficient laws, insufficient policies, and the road ahead for India. So this is one of the vibrant topic that at present is a big challenge all over the world, and particularly as India. Therefore, it's over to you, ma'am, right now, and we'll begin the session right away.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm just reading this message sent by one Adams. Respected presenter, kindly click on hide in presentation button. What is this I have to do?
You minimize the window and your screen will come as before.
Achha.
Oh.
You don't have to hide.
Yeah, now you can
stop sharing your screen, please.
Stop share.
No, to the participants.
I think I have to say hide, no?
No, ma'am, no.
Can you see this?
You have to say hide, ma'am. Like before you minimize your
No, ma'am, no. You don't have to say hide, ma'am. Like before you minimize your Google Meet screen.
Ah.
And then you open the PPT.
And then you open the PPT.
What should I do? This is okay, no? Yeah, this is fine. I'm not sharing anything now. I will, your entire screen I'm sharing. Share.
Okay.
Right? A few minutes, I'll just want to talk to you, then I'll move on to my presentation. Am I audible to all of you? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. So this topic, I worked a lot, slightly, I teach cybercrimes in my university. And also I'm running a PG diploma on cyber laws. And I did research also on, of course, on some of the cyber crimes, including pornography. I received Commonwealth scholarship and I went to London King's College to work on this topic for a few months. Then, as a part of it, I also worked and researched upon this uh, child pornography also. So, since then, I'm working on this online child sexual abuse, the laws connecting to it. I also did a comparative study. So, this interested me a lot. That's why I'm presenting it to you today. I thank, at the outset, like I would like to thank Preeti, who invited me for this lecture. I don't treat this as a lecture or a speech. I'm only sharing some of my thoughts with you, and it's like a learning process for everyone. I'm looking forward to learn from all of you. I can see 45 presenters here. I'm ready to learn from each one of you. These are some of my thoughts regarding the online child sexual abuse. All of us know that the IT Act was heavily amended in the direction of cyber crimes only in 2008. Before that, it was all the IT Act, the Information and Technology Act 2000 was meant for facilitating the e-commerce, e-trade, and e-business. So the entire focus was on e-contracts, digital signatures, so on and so forth. But later on, we found that India is becoming a bigger victim for various cyber crimes, and we don't have a law. So, nullam crime in sine legi is the principle, is the general principle of criminal law. It says that if you don't have a law, you can't have a crime, and if you don't have a crime, you can't punish that person. So, these are all interrelated. Without having a robust mechanism, without having a well equipped law in place, it is not possible to punish any accused and to provide justice to the victim. So in 2008 Amendment Act, people have said a number of articles were written on this. Like there was no much discussion on this amendment. So just it was passed in 5 minutes. That's what we have read in all newspapers. Maybe it required or it deserved a detailed discussion. Whatever, as academicians, this is our responsibility, because as criminal law is the reflection of the society's morals, society's demands, society's just it is this is one branch of criminal law which is indirectly in connection with the society's sentiments, morals, and demands, and many more issues of them. So for a common man, a law means a criminal law, right? So how this law at present is dealing with it, what is the enforcement mechanism in place? Of course, now the law relating to online child sexual abuse is scattered in various legislations. Like some provisions are present in Information and Technology Act. Some provisions we can read from POCSO, some from Juvenile Justice Act. Like this, many legislations we are referring to, and there are many enforcement agencies also. So what about the coordination? Then this is all about identifying the crime. Later on, the criminal process comes into play, wherein how to the trial procedure, the kind of protection which has to be given to the victims, then the aftercare which is given to the victims of the online child sexual abuse, and lastly, how do we protect the potential online child sexual victims? This is how I have prepared my presentation. I look forward for your. I have also added some recent amendments which were made in India and also in the international forum. Some principles were evolved by 5 countries. I have shared it in my presentation. Then the Rajya Sabha's recommendations, which were made in January 2020, very recently by I think by the Rajya Sabha committee, which was appointed by the vice president of this country, Venkaiah Naidu. So all these things are there in the presentation. With this brief introduction, I want to move on with my presentation. Yeah, can you see this PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
We can see, you expand it. Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
I have one incident which has come to my notice through an NGO which is called as Prajwala Foundation, run by one Sunita Krishnan. I met her in one of the conferences and she told me this because she was involved as a whistleblower in that case. On Facebook, she found two websites. The titles of the websites, one was in Tamil and one was in Malayalam, it seems. I'm a Telugu speaking person, so I can't tell you those words. But the meaning of those words is one of the title is which was in Tamil is little children or angels, children and angels, something like this. Second one is also something relating to children. It is a very nice name. Then she saw that some photographs of 2 year children, 3 years children, up till 7, 8 years children who are school going were uploaded there on the website. And the followers, if she saw that it has been followed by almost 4,000 people. Then she found something suspicious about it and she's gone into it and then probed in detail. She found that these are the photographs which were uploaded by their parents and friends in their own websites. They were copied from their Facebook accounts and were uploaded here. Like my child, generally we do this, like my child is going to this school or my first day, my child's first day. Like this, we keep posting our children's photographs. Those photographs were copied onto one Facebook account, and Nietzsche I underlined there the comments were written in language is English, but it is Malayalam actually, and also Tamil. The translation of which is that I like this girl. How can I get her? Then I will do this kind of a sexual activity with her. I will insert, some kind of pen into her vagina, or I will bite her in this sexual part, like this. There were conversations after conversations she found, and she alerted the Kerala police, and then they arrested some 40-45 people. And actually, what's happening is these Facebook accounts, they're posting photographs, and if someone, if there is a lot of demand to one girl or a boy, they will kidnap that boy or a girl and supply them to these customers. So this is how this online child sexual racket was running since a long time. 38 small children aged between 5 years to 12 years were saved and rescued in this operation. So this is how the social media and this internet, this cyber world is helping them to do their business happily. And we are unknowingly, adults, parents ourselves, are somehow becoming avatars also, because we don't know when you post a photograph. All of you please know, when you say post anything on a social media, let it be Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media, please remember one has to be very, very careful. Once we post it there, it is there forever. You may delete it, but it won't be deleted by everyone. Once you post it, it is there forever. It is a writing on the wall, not or on the rock. Let me tell you. So this is how we are at risk. Our children are all at risk, and our next generations are potential victims. So that is how child sexual online sexual exploitation of the children. OSEC means online sexual exploitation of the children. In a global compilation of reports of child sexual abuse material found online, please note this point. This is so alarming that India stands right on top of the list with 11.7% of the total reports, or at 19.87 lakh reports, followed by Pakistan, which contributes only 6.8%, and so on and so forth. So we are producing the maximum amount of this kind of an online content, it looks like. The second very important and alarming thing which we have to note down here is missing children. Every year, the number of missing children is only going up and up, and there is a secret link in between this missing children and this online child sexual abuse. These children are kidnapped and then they are used for these purposes. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children (SMEC) urges people to report CSAM found online across the world annually on their online platform Cyber Tipline. Many of the children who went missing just like that, their photographs were found on these online many websites. If you find any such kind of thing, please inform Cyber Tipline. This year, the center received a total of, please see this fact, this figure, which is really disturbing to all of us, 1.68 crore reports. The material thus reported by the member of the public and electronic service providers principally comprises still pictures and videos depicting children in a clear sexual angle. I am talking from Hyderabad. This is the capital of state of Telangana. Because most you are all from Assam, I'm introducing myself and also telling you the place where I live. Yesterday, one incident has occurred, and a day before, actually, only it has come to our notice or my notice. A girl who was aged 12 years, she was in an orphan home, and she was continuous. Her photograph was sent by the orphan home managers to one of the donors of the orphan home, and they're running a website, it seems, and also a Facebook account they have, in which they have posted her photographs in nude form. And that donor, he used to visit frequently this orphan home, and he abused her and raped her number of times for years together. And in this COVID, when this COVID has started, what happened? The orphan homes were closed and they were sent to either their relatives or some other places. In this process, she was sent to her uncle's home, and God knows what happens there. That both of her uncles also have severely beaten her up. She was like in a very bad form, and after they wanted to again hand her over to the orphan home. They've taken her back to orphan home 3-4 times. They refused to again take it because of the COVID problem. Then she was handed over to one of her aunts. She came to know about this physical abuse, torture, and also that rape. She took her to a police officer 1 week back, and she was visibly very weak and unable to talk and explain. She was even unable to walk, it seems. She was admitted in Nilufar Hospital, Hyderabad. Yesterday morning, early hours, that girl passed away. So please remember, it is the responsibility. And when we read such kind of incidents happening in and around our places, we get a feeling that we are a failure as a civil society. If anything like this happens to even our child, a single child, this is a responsibility of all of us. This is the failure of all of us. We academicians are not only there. This is what is my belief as a teacher of criminal law. This is how I teach my criminal law classes also. This is not just to earn money or salary per month, but we have to contribute to the society, contribute to the making of the legislations. Our voice has to be heard by the legislators, the lawmakers. Our inputs shall be taken. When I've gone to Germany, I found that they were making some amendments in the laws relating to intermediaries, their responsibilities. The draft was sent to Max Planck Institute. They made many suggestions, and all the suggestions was accepted. But here we have Law Commission of India, which makes suggestions, which comes out with lots of reports. Nobody cares for those reports. They find their respect and they find their place in a waste bin only. This is the problem with our country. So our criminal law is not the reflection of the problems of this society. That is why it is not catering to the needs of the victims. No, so this is, I mean, like this, I can tell you number of cases because I'm closely working with this Prajwala Foundation, which works for anti-trafficking, and they rescue children. Mostly, they are running a home here in Hyderabad, wherein uh, they have what do you call it? I think they have accommodated some 7,000 small children in their home. Now there are number of issues as regarding the homes also, which I'll discuss in my later presentation. Now this is the I mean, every information which I'm sharing here is an authentic information. See, the earlier was the statistics also is an authentic statistics that is not given by one NGO or something. The Central Bureau of Investigation has set up an online child sexual abuse and exploitation unit. Please note down, this is a very important development in our country. This unit is called as OCSAE. The task assigned to it is it is a prevention and investigation unit. It will also probe such offences covered under various provisions of the IPC, Protect POXO Act, in IT Act, apart from the other relevant acts. The unit, which will function under the agency's special crime zone in Delhi, will collect and disseminate information on online child sexual abuse and exploitation. I'll take a pause here, and also though I haven't put it in my presentation, I wanted to tell you, all of you might be aware of this unit called as NCERT in National Crime Emergency Response Team India. This is one nodal agency which was appointed which has come through in 2008 amendment only. It works under Department of Information and Technology and Telecommunications. This is an agency which works as a watchdog, and they are supposed to inform the government, or they are supposed to block the websites. If, one of the tasks which was assigned to this NCERT is to block those websites which are disseminating the child sexual abuse content. But this NCERT in also, it seems, is not fully functional as it is working in US and UK. Numerous references related to dissemination of child sexual abuse material are received from the Interpol and other international organizations. The incidence of online child sexual abuse and exploitation generally transcends international borders, said this agency. Okay. Now, this boys' locker room incident, all of you might have read this in newspapers. This is about, so far I've spoken to you about children as victims of online child sexual abuse. In this incident, what we observed is the accused also, some of them, some 24 people were arrested, some of them are even minors, and victims whose photographs were uploaded, 90% of them are minors. So this rape culture is increasing amongst the amongst these adolescents. So what is the problem? How can we in one of the studies which was conducted in Delhi, they found that 82% of the school going children starting from 5th standard itself, loads and loads of porn material is loaded in their or uploaded in their mobile phones. So now they are exposed to this dangerous content from the very 8th year or 9th year. That is what is corrupting their young, immature minds and making them as cyber criminals. This is another problem which this society is facing as of now. This is a big time danger, big time problem to the future of this country or any country, let me tell you. So as parents, teachers, all of us have to be very, very careful about while allowing them to get exposed to this computer, laptop, mobile phones. Parents have to take lot of care. This boys' locker room was an Instagram scandal, actually, allegedly involving a chat room of teenage boys from Delhi. It was started on 3rd May 2020 when a member leaked chats from this group, including obscene images of around 15 girls. I read some of the messages, you might have also read. Those messages are very, very disgusting. And the controversy flared after several social media users led by Instagram. They have brought this into the notice of the police and the Delhi Commission for Women Chief Swati Maliwal and the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights NCPC also took notice of the issue and issued various notices to Instagram as well as Delhi police for further information on the scandal. What is furthermore, let me tell you, what is further disturbing is this information was given by some girls whose photographs were uploaded in this boys' locker room incident. These accused, these minor boys, they started giving threats to those women, to those girls. They are sending private messages. Those messages also again were tracked by the Delhi police. They are saying, "Look, you have done this to me, no? Now I will ruin your life." This means there is no remorse on the part of these young children. So I mean, this is how the nature of these young, impressionable minds are being, nurtured in this cyber world. So we have to have what to do, how to change their mindset, how to protect these minor children. That can be a girl, that can be a boy as well. But the statistics say that 82% of the victims of child sexual abuse belong to this female gender. See, these are the reports. Again, India leads in generation of online child sexual abuse material. We are leading with 1 crore 98 lakh 7,430 reports. India accounted for 11.7% of all suspected child sexual exploitation. This is the information given by Cyber Tipline in 2019, followed by Pakistan, Iraq, Indonesia, Mexico, and other countries. Now, Facebook. Facebook has become a problematic issue for many things. Very recently, Zuckerberg was prosecuted for selling all our data, all our personal information also. Again, Facebook is used heavily by these people, these child traffickers as well. In light of Facebook's and especially Messenger's massive share in reporting, in February 2020, 129 signatories had urged the company to resist 120 countries actually introducing end-to-end encryption on Facebook's messaging platforms. This end-to-end encryption is also an issue because this entire content is in between the sender and receiver. The content is not saved in any other third platform. Thereby, it becomes almost impossible for the law enforcement agencies also to supervise, to interfere, and to block it. So this is one of the major recommendations made by the Rajya Sabha also in 2020 January. They said don't make it end-to-end encryption because that is only helping them to flourish their business. Which is already the default on Facebook, owned by WhatsApp, disallows anyone except the sender and the receiver to monitor the communication in any way, thereby turning all communications opaque to any automated or manual monitoring for child sexual abuse material. This is one case again reported from Kerala. Again, Facebook is involved there. The Coimbatore rural, this was in May 2nd, during the pandemic, during the COVID problem only, this has happened. And a number of reports are suggesting that this pandemic also is helping for the increase of the online child sexual abuse cases. The Coimbatore Rural Police received the internet protocol address and said that they had confirmed that a video was uploaded actually by a man, and at 11:50 p.m. the man was been identified as someone a native of Kerala. Police said he lived at somewhere and worked in a canteen. Chettipalayam police said he had uploaded a video of a child sexual abuse to his Facebook page on May 2nd, 2020. The Coimbatore Rural Police received the internet protocol address and said that they had confirmed the same thing. The police had been tipped off by the US-based National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So other countries are very active in spotting them down, in blocking them, and giving information about this. India is not really so active, or I mean, we are like, we don't do anything, it looks like. Whereas when if you look at the problem, it is so much alarming. The man has been booked under Section 15 of the POCSO Act and 67A and 67B of the Information and Technology Act. He has been remanded to judicial custody. Now, Facebook has allowed child abuse posts to stay online. Now, what is their responsibility? If the content is staying on their platform for years together and they are not bothered about, what do we do? What kind of an action can be taken? This was the worry of the Indian courts also. This is called as WhatsApp transfer case, and now it is in the High Court of Tamil Nadu. These are some of the observations made interlocutory order only. This is not finally decided. Some comments were made by the judges, which are like this. The page featured some of the pages of pictures of women and girls taken in public, apparently without their consent, under which users left graphic comments describing sexual acts which they wanted to commit. Only when the court asked Facebook to remove some of the posts more than a year after the page was reported were they finally taken down, according to Aparna Bhatt. She was a lawyer for this NGO Prajwala, along with which I am also working. The court also heard the company decline to remove a post listing a mobile phone number. Users were told they could call to access a video depicting the sexual assault of an actor who was kidnapped in Kerala state in February. At in another page, the court heard was reported but not initially judged to violate community standards something. So all kinds of things are uploaded on Facebook and they are not taking any action. So what actually is online child sexual abuse? Then the India and the safety regulations. So, and these are the things which we are going to discuss in my later on presentation. These are the acts which are dealing with it: the Information and Technology Act, Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act, Goa Children's Act 2006, Juvenile Justice Act 2006, Commissions for Protection of Children's Rights 2005, Integrated Child Protection Scheme, and a draft of the Offences Against Child Prevention Bill 2007. What are the international developments? You can't, any study relating to a cyber world, virtual world, is incomplete without studying the international development, because cyber virtual world doesn't have any borders. It is, as far as a cyber criminal is concerned, the entire world is at his doorstep. He can do anything in any country. So international developments are very, very important and we need to study. It's mandatory. This is the very, very recent development which has happened in the international forum. On March 5th, I just want to draw your attention here. On March 5th, 2020, these are the countries: Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom and the United States. They've announced the publication of voluntary principles to counter online child sexual exploitation and abuse. And international developments is all the more important because ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, is being run in New York and by the United States. So you have, without reading their ideas, ideologies, policies, and laws and regulations, we can't understand how this internet governance is happening. So, what are the voluntary principles which were made by these countries there? These are the points which I am just reading for your understanding. Companies seek to prevent known child sexual abuse material from being made available to users or accessible on their platforms and services. Take appropriate action under their terms of service and report to appropriate authorities. So, Facebook is a company, is a corporation, it is under a duty to inform. Once it comes to their knowledge, they have to inform. Companies, non-governmental organizations, and law enforcement agencies have done significant work to identify and catalog child sexual abuse material. The process can prevent the continued circulation of such materials and avoid additional re-victimizing of the children depicted. Number two, companies seek to identify and combat the dissemination of new child sexual abuse material via their platforms and services. Take appropriate action under their terms of the service. Third, companies seek to identify and combat preparatory child sexual exploitation and abuse activities such as online grooming for child sexual abuse. Take appropriate action under their terms of service and report to appropriate authorities. Companies seek to identify and combat advertising, recruiting. Please understand, I'm stressing here, advertising, recruiting, soliciting, or procuring a child for sexual exploitation or abuse, or organizing to do so. Take appropriate action under their terms of service and report to appropriate authorities. Disrupting preparatory actions is one potential intervention that can prevent more serious harm from occurring. Companies seek to identify and prevent child sexual exploitation and abuse facilitated or amplified by live streaming. Take appropriate action under their terms of service and report to appropriate authorities. Live streaming is especially complex because it permits offenders to interact with the child sexual abuse production in real time and leave limited evidence. This is another problem. Getting evidence in these cases becomes very difficult if it is a live streaming action. Then companies seek to prevent search results from surfacing child sexual exploitation and abuse and seek to prevent automatic suggestions for such activity and material. Prevention efforts such as addressing the modes used to access child sexual abuse material are fundamental to ending this abuse. Companies seek to adopt enhanced safety measures with the goal of protecting children. That company can be a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. They are all under these international obligations, especially from peers or adults seeking to engage in harmful sexual activity with children. These measures may include considering whether users are children. In this regard, the identified risks include content risks, which generally position the child as the recipient of unwelcome and inappropriate content. According to one of the studies, 97% of the children who are using these mobile phones, smartphones, are exposed to this pornographic videos, pictures, and content accidentally. And these windows are just like that popping up. When in 2011, ICANN has taken a decision to give licenses to all pornographic websites with a domain called as .xxx. So legally now in ICANN, every person can register a pornographic website with a .xxx domain. And when it was opposed by Middle East countries and also third world countries like India, Pakistan, and many other countries, they said, our society is not ready for this, please don't do. Then the ICANN has given an explanation in which they said that, see, if those who want to watch this content will go to that particular website and will watch. Otherwise, these websites are popping up and it has become a nonsensical value to every person. Now it is like everyone is viewing, those who doesn't wish to. But this is all about adult pornography, what I'm talking. ICANN also did not legalize child pornographic websites. Now, last point, eighth point, companies seek to take appropriate action, including providing reporting options on material that may not be illegal on its face, but with appropriate content, and confirmation may be connected to child sexual exploitation and abuse. Companies, these are like some of the other things we do. This is another development in the international forum. Again, I would like to bring this to your notice because it is a very important development. This convention is called as a proposed convention, of course, Lanzarote Convention. It has set forth these 6 criminal offences which are relating to online child sexual abuse. Article 18 of this Lanzarote Convention talks about, defines what is online child sexual abuse. Then 19 discusses about child prostitution, 20 about child pornography, and 21 about the participation of a child in pornographic performances, and corruption of children in Article 22, solicitation of children for sexual purposes, also known as online grooming. So this word, this terminology also, as teachers, all of us, because I'm told that some faculty members are also the participants in this program, we have to learn this terminology, all the law teachers, otherwise our teaching is incomplete, let me tell you. So solicitation or online grooming is discussed in Article 23. Now, this United Nations in 2011, in 2014 also, has made a statement on record saying that Philippines is the country which is producing the most online child sexual abuse relating content. Then they have then they heavily made some legislation. They came up with many legislations, and they law enforcement also was again reformed. They reinvented certain mechanisms, how to arrest the person, how to lay a trap, and whether this, in our criminal law also, criminal law teachers know that the evidence obtained by laying a trap or entrapment is not like very much is not given lot of credence or lot of weightage. But in these cases, I have taken this example from Philippines because they are successfully dealing with it. I am also referring to these cases which are reported from the country of Philippines, People versus Casio. This entrapment as a necessary and valid tool. In this case, the court of that country said that entrapment is a valid tool. But entrapment in general in our country is not a very valid tool, because if you lay a trap, the person who lays the trap is considered as an abettor also. So, as per section 107 of the Indian Penal Code, abettor is equally responsible along with the abetted. The court in Casio declared that flexibility is a trait of good police work. Law enforcers have utilized entrapment for time-sensitive operations with the goal of immediately stopping ongoing online child sexual exploitation of children. Even I have spoken to one cybercrime superintendent of police. He told me that these police officers or the cyber forensic experts, they enter into dark net or deep web, and then they enter into the deep web as prospective customers for this illegal trafficking of weapons, arms, and children, including child sexual abuse content. They enter into it as prospective customers, and then they receive the information, then they track them down and go and arrest them. This is also called as entrapment, which happens in India as well. In People versus Villanueva, the court stated that the arresting officer in the entrapment operation must only be satisfied in his or her mind that a crime is being committed to conduct an arrest. So this is a preventive arrest. So these powers are given in Philippines to arrest a person in preventive, much before the commission of the offense. This doctrine is helpful in conducting the arrest in live stream cases also, because the arresting officers need not wait for an actual sexual act. When this live streaming starts before the actual act is committed, to prevent that act, the police officer can arrest the person or the accused before he commits the crime, before the damage is done. Next, after care, you arrest the person, you arrest the accused, and the children are rescued. उसके बाद क्या होता है? No, this is not our focus. Once, all of us also as common people, when if the accused is arrested, we feel very happy. Oh, he's arrested. We think that is the end of the thing. No, this is the beginning of the entire problem. Now, where are we sending these victims, these children? They are sent to various kinds of homes. We have so much of so many names. That shelter, this home, that thing. But again, this child sexual abuse happens in those homes also repeatedly, and it is a worst case. So please remember, aftercare is as important as nabbing the accused, and it is even more important than the first step. See, the procedural aspects, again, I have studied the Philippines case because this is the recent one. Some of these things are done by us also. POCSO Act says so, and Sakshi versus Union of India, in child sexual abuses, how a trial has to be conducted, how evidence has to be recorded from the child sexual abuse victims, how the judge has to behave. In detailed guidelines were given by the Supreme Court of this country. Here, I'm just reading this for your information. The child witness is unable to, if he is unable to testify in court on grounds and under conditions established on 28, the interview of the child will be conducted by duly trained members. Our Juvenile Justice Act also says so. The members are anyway are trained. So we have a mechanism in place to deal with these kind of cases. Of a multidisciplinary team or representatives of law enforcement or child protective services. The party offering the videotape or audio tape must prove that the videotape or audio tape discloses the identity of all individuals present and at all times includes their images and voices. The statement was not made in response to questioning calculated to lead the child to make a particular statement, or is clearly shown to the statement to be the statement of the child and not the product of improper suggestion. The videotape and audio tape machine or device was capable of recording testimony. Like all these proceedings have to be recorded using audio video means. The person operating the device was competent to operate it. The videotape or audio tape is authentic and correct. It has been duly preserved. The person who conducted the interview shall be available at the trial of examination by any party and all parties. That means the child sexual abuse victim should not be called to the court, and these measures have to be taken. He shall be interviewed in private, and those statements have to be recorded in audio video means and has to be presented in the court of law. This is how it is done in Philippines. Now, coming back to our country, this Rajya Sabha has made some certain recommendations regarding the child sexual abuse material. In January 2020 means a very recent development here. Ad hoc Rajya Sabha committee has recommended that law enforcement agencies may be permitted to break end-to-end encryption. Our WhatsApp messages are also end-to-end encrypted. That means the content is in between the sender and receiver. So it is not saved in any server. That is what is the claim made by WhatsApp. Like sometimes when the police departments ask the WhatsApp, this company to provide the information, if it is relating to child sexual abuse or some terroristic activities also, the company's standard response is that हमारे पास कुछ भी नहीं है. This is all in between, end-to-end encryption हो गया. So it is between the sender and receiver. The ad hoc committee headed by Jairam Ramesh made 40 recommendations to prevent sexual abuse of children and prohibit access and circulation of child pornography on social media, and its report to Venkaiah Naidu on January 25th. The committee heard from Ministries of Women and Child Department, Electronics and Information Technology and Home Affairs. It also heard from National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, TRI, Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, Twitter, and ShareChat. HERD, Educational and Medical Research Foundation, Center for Child Rights, Internet Freedom Foundation also made their representation. The committee was formed by Venkaiah Naidu on December 12th, of course. But what are the important suggestions made? I'm reading these suggestions for your information. So they are suggesting that some amendments were to be made to the IT Act 2000. One, make intermediaries responsible for proactively identifying and removing CSAM. As of now, 2011 guidelines only have come to existence. 2018 May, another set of guidelines were issued by the department, but they are not notified. So still we are being guided by this 2011 guidelines only, which talks about the due diligence clause. Due diligence clause. So it says that if any grossly harmful content like this child sexual abuse material is uploaded, and if it is brought to the notice of the intermediary within 6 hours, that has to be removed. It doesn't say that proactively you have to search for it, but this that is why this Rajya Sabha ad hoc committee has made a recommendation that proactively they have to identify and they have to remove this kind of child sexual abuse material, and for reporting it to Indian and foreign authorities, and for reporting to the designated authority the IP address and identities of the people who search for or access child porn and CSAM. Make gateway ISPs, internet service providers, liable so that they can detect and block. It's kind of a strict liability. They're saying if you make them liable, they are under pressure to search for such kind of a material and people. Prescribe punitive measures for those who give pornographic access to children and those who access, produce, or transmit. Allow central government through its designated authority to block and or prohibit all websites intermediaries that carry CSA. Of course, this is already there in the IT Act. They can block it, but they can block it, but it is a lengthy procedure. NERT even as a no, we you might have no, please read like heavily about these issues. There is a consultant who keeps writing. His name is Navi Vijay Shankar. He is running a website also in his name, navi.com. He like long back we used to have a pornographic website called as Savita Bhabi. Savita Bhabi, very popular then. Then it was brought to the notice of the. So it contains some child sexual abuse pics also, but it is animated. Animated. It was brought to the notice of this NCRD by this Navi, it seems. Sir Navi Vijay Shankar, but it took a long time, 1.5 years. The reaction has to be quickly because they will inform someone else, and it is again done by some other department. So thereby we loss a lot of time. 1.5 years is actually too much time. Within 1.5 years, people will lose interest by watching it repeatedly. Actually, by the time you block it, that Savita Bhavi will go, and many other Bhabis will come in. कितने दिन देखेंगे आप the same thing, then allow law enforcement to break end-to-end encryption to trace distributors of the child pornography. Mandate CSAM detection for all social media companies through minimum essential technologies to detect CSAM besides reporting it to law enforcement agencies. What this WhatsApp, Twitter or these groups, what these companies say is, हमारे पास कुछ keywords है. If these keywords you say your sex, child sex, like this, some keywords are there. If you use those words, we'll block that content or filter that content. And their problem, they are saying that in the I've explained an incident in the very beginning of the presentations in which I told you that a word in Tamil was written in English. So this can't be done by the Facebook. They can't put it as a filter also. They can't. That is where they are failing. Their search engines are failing, and that is how this content, this harmful, grossly offensive content, is uploaded on the website. The next, separate adult content section on streaming platforms like Netflix and social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook, where children are not allowed. age verification and gating mechanisms on social media to restrict access to objectionable and obscene material. Manage children's access to internet. To do that, make apps that monitor children's access to porn mandatory on all devices in India. So these are some of the use blockchain to trace buyers of child porn. Ban all payments to porn websites. Online payment portals and credit cards shall be prohibited from using payments for any pornographic website. Then they have also made some recommendations to amend the POXO Act. Prescribe a code of conduct for intermediaries, online platforms to maintain child safety online, ensure age appropriate content, and curb use of children for pornographic purposes. Make advocating or counseling sexual activities with a minor through written materials, visual media, audio recording, or any other means. Make school management responsible for safety of children. Make national crime, cyber crime reporting portal, the national portal for all report relating to electronic material. Make national commission for protection of child rights the nodal agency to deal with this issue. It should have necessary technological cyber policing and prosecuting capabilities. Each state and union territory also should have a commission for the protection for child rights that mirrors NCPCR. Appoint each safety commissioners at state level to ensure implementation of social media and website guidelines. NCRB must record and report cases of child pornography of all kinds annually. Readers should note that the last annual report from NCRB was 2017. 2017 is already, we are lagging behind by 3 years. Then the POXO Act, of course, was amended in the last year to widen the definition of child pornography to include any visual depiction of sexually exploited conduct involving a child, including photograph, video, digital, or computer generated image, indistinguishable from an actual child, an image created, adapted, or modified, but appeared to depict as a child. The amendment introduced a new section 15 that gave the following penalties for storage and possession of the child pornographic material. A minimum of 5,000 for the possession of pornographic material involving a child and with the intention to share the material in the first time offense for subsequent offenses 10,000 rupees. Okay, so this is like online child sexual abuse, online access to children for viewing sexual explicit content is one of the forms of online child sexual abuse. Online access, okay. Second is online sexual grooming, which I have already explained. Third is online child sexual images, their transmission, reception, and possession. Production or reception of online child sexual abuses के लिए. So these are the centers which are set up in various countries. These are the initiatives taken down by them. Now, in India, the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act 2006 also deals with these cases. This I don't want to go in detail because I'm almost, I think I'm running out of the time. It is already at 11:33. So I was talking about these homes and all. So juvenile justice boards, observation homes, special homes, children homes, shelter homes. These homes are all there for this aftercare of the child sexual abuse victims. Then this state child protection unit, of course, is there. District child protection unit, special district juvenile police unit, child welfare officer, probation officer, and a caseworker. These are the enforcement agencies which are working to help in the aftercare of these child sexual abuse victims and also, of course, the accused, because it deals with an accused who is a minor, who is a juvenile, is a child who is in the care and protection of the law. Then Section 67B of the IT Act, all of us you might have read it. I put it there, and also I will say I've already sent this presentation to all of you. Please read this presentation. Then intermediaries liability, Section 67C of the IT Act says that an intermediary has to preserve the information and they have to support the law enforcement authorities in investigating the case. And Section 70B, this is CERT, in Computer Emergency Response Team. This is what I have referred to in my earlier presentation. Then the next legislation which deals with online child sexual abuse is Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act. This child is a person who is below 16, minor is a person who is below 18, and prostitution is the sexual exploitation. This is how it is defined here. And these are the activities which are punished. And this Goa Children's Act 2006 is, I want to bring, if you have not read it, please read. This is a very small act but very effective. And it deals with many aspects of the child sexual abuse. Child abuse is criminalized, punishment for sexual assault. See, second point is soliciting children for purposes of commercial exploitation. Commercial sexual exploitation of the children is defined, and grave sexual assault also is defined. Preparation of a child by the Goa Board. This is child-friendly police stations have to be established. Prohibition of children below 14 years arriving unaccompanied inside any cyber cave is also there in this law. And they have constituted a children's code, adopting child-friendly procedures like age of innocence, principle of best, and rest of the things. Please read this Goa Children's Act 2006, and this is another bill. And no, now we need to have, I think, an integrated child protection policy first of all, and then we should establish as many number of hotlines as possible with age restrictions, and some special units have to work, and there as chat rooms, and supervision has to be very strictly done. Any this CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, has to be very actively working, and they have to block the websites, and these intermediaries liability also have to be strictly, the laws have to be again made on the lines which were told by the Rajya Sabha committee, so that they'll also be active, and parents also have to be very vigilant when they allow their children to get exposed to these mobiles, smartphones, laptops, and any kind of online virtual devices. So this is what I can share. These are some of my views regarding online child sexual abuse, the problem, the law, and the road ahead. Thank you for the time given. If you have any doubts, I'll try to clear them off. And if you want to add anything also, I'm ready to listen.
Yes, ma'am. You may stop the presenting over the screen, and just you can come for us all. Yeah, ma'am. So we are proud to have your presentation and entire case studies and current situations, and also the practical issues and the very current happenings regarding this online sexual abuse with the children, and especially the girl child. So we have few questions already in the chat box, and I hope the participants are also enlightened in a broad way, because this is one of the most current prevalent situation which the law enforcement agencies, the online cyber laws, the cyber policies of India are especially struggling to manage this crime situation, which is actually virtual in terms of our understanding from the perspective of our criminal law system also. And this virtual crime management and following behind the accused is very difficult. So we are proud that we have been enlightened with all the international regulation laws and what are the policies taken up by different state governments and in the international initiatives. So the first question is from Dipti Sika. She asks is what precautions we use to protect pictures and videos on social media. To protect pictures and videos on social media.
Personal images should not be uploaded, even of your children. Generally, we think that only adults are prone to this kind of sexual abuse, but now children are more prone to it. So even don't post a photograph of your child, even with a school bag, or that he is going to some school, and that Facebook case which I was referring to. I also had an opportunity to have a look at that Facebook that account. One child who was aged about 5 years old, she was going to some sunflower some school. So that photograph was taken in front of that school, and after this 1 week or so, that child was kidnapped from the same point. Thereby, like when you post a photograph of your own child, you are providing all such sort of information to these kidnappers, and you yourself are helping them to commit this crime. So please be very careful. And also, nothing comes for free. When some the movies online you download for free, it says, the software download for free, it says. But please, and please, be very careful when you download that movie. Secretly, some softwares also will get downloaded in your laptop, which will open your camera. When you switch on your laptop, that software will open the camera, and it will record all activities of you, and this would be transmitted to that accused, and it would be saved in his server. So this kind of cases also we have observed in Hyderabad. One BTech girl, I was closely working with the cybercrime cell SP. We were doing a project. So I was sitting in his office. That girl came to him and she said, "Sir, my nude photographs I found in one of the pornographic websites. I'm astonished because I don't have a boyfriend also, nor I have shared my nude photographs with anybody. Ye kaisa hua hai?" Then they were investigated. They took her laptop and it was sent to a cyber forensic expert, and they found that she downloaded few new movies online. While downloading this software, a secret software also got downloaded, and whenever she is working on her laptop, sometimes we keep it on and we keep doing our work, we change your clothes, do everything. So that is opening the camera. That software has opened the camera, recorded everything, and transmitted it to the accused. And that fellow started, he uploaded all those messages in many websites. So while this is like one has to be very, very careful while dealing with, and even on your mobile. Let me tell you, it says, you say just yes, this would be downloaded, that app, this app. Please don't download unknown apps and more number of apps on your mobile. They are all tracking softwares. Let me tell you, they are all tracking softwares. Your entire personal information, including those photographs which you have taken on your mobile phone, would be transmitted to those cyber criminals. So this is how while using a smartphone, while using a laptop, you have to take some kind of a training about all these things, and then only you have to work on it. One police officer is working in cybercrime cell. He told me that ISRO chief, that lady, there were 3 to 4 Facebook accounts were opened in her own, in her name on Facebook, and and some statements, that is being run by some persons. So some questions were asked by her as if she is posing. Then some information also was given by her colleagues, saying that, "Ma'am, this transmitter is not working. That is something else." Some important information was shared by ISRO employees themselves, because they didn't know that it is her. It is someone else. It was brought, and actually that lady was not at all opened an account in the Facebook. This is how the one has to be very careful. Though you don't have an account, people may open an account in your name. You have to be very, very vigilant while dealing with all these social media platforms.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for this answer to the question by Deepti. I think all the participants are also enlightened with these precautions that actually when we use social medias and laptops and mobile phones, because at present...
Please refrain from uploading your personal photographs, because, and girls particularly, women and children Please be very, very careful because your images are morphed, and you'll find, all of us are prone to this kind of potential victims only. Your face will be morphed and you'll be attached to someone else's nude photo, and they are then it is sold out also. This is how the pornographic industry is progressing nowadays. Yeah, please.
So we have another question from Jitendra Kumar.
Yes.
He asked about, can there be an online platform to report through mobile applications for faster, hassle-free reporting of such cases?
This tips only, cyber tips online is only there for all kinds of abuses. Let it be mobile or laptop or anything. Cyber tips online can be used. I've given that in one of my slides also. Please see.
Yes, yes. I hope Jitendra got it. And further, we have from Manjit Goswami.
Yeah.
What's your views on only policy reforms are enough for stopping all these things?
Could you please repeat the question, sir?
What's your views on only policy reforms? Is it enough for stopping all of these things?
No, because see, police will. It's not only the thing. That's why I've told you that NGOs have to work. Companies which are providing platforms also have to be actively involved. Then the general public also has to be very careful and has to have some kind of awareness. It is not only the police which will help everything because police generally come to fore only once the commission of the offence happens. Prevention also is something which they do, this entrapment and all they are doing. But that is not only enough, I think. The entire society has to get involved in this. Otherwise, it's not possible.
So that's from Manjit. I hope all are clear about this. And further, I don't see any questions, but we have one Harish, an advocate from Bangalore. So he has been with us throughout all the sessions. So he is raising his hand. He must have some additional inputs. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. Thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation, very exhaustive, comprehensive on whatever you have enlightened the participants on. I have two issues. One is, there is mandatory reporting under POCSO, also on CSAM, child sexual abuse material, reporting to be done mandatory. But there is exemptions also under IT Act for intermediaries and things like that. And there are different systems prevailing for intermediaries in different parts of the world based on their territorial thing. Because of these things, there will be definitely non-cooperation from the intermediaries on reporting and detecting of the CSAM, that is the child sexual abusive material on the thing. When such is the case, how can there be more compliance of mandatory reporting things? Rather than compliance, there will be more non-compliance. This law appears to be more followed in its breach than in its adherence itself because of these different systems prevailing across the world. So what is your take on that?
Yes, sir, true. As far as cyber crimes are concerned, this is one of the cyber crime, the worst form of the cyber crime. Universal jurisdiction is the only answer. This is the only effective way to deal with this problem. Because this crime knows no borders, all the countries in this world have to come together and shall have one universal jurisdiction to punish these people, to put liability on the intermediaries, so on and so forth. This Budapest Convention is the only convention which exhaustively deals with cyber crimes prevention and rest of the issues. And I don't know why India is not a signatory to this Budapest Convention. I don't know the reasons known to. It is not because maybe it has some sovereign issues relating to the sovereignty or many other problems. But whatever it could be, I think personally that India should have been a signatory to this Budapest Convention and cooperate with the world in fighting this menace or this problem of cyber crimes, including online child sexual abuse. we are lagging behind, kilometers behind. We are actually, we don't even think about it. And the pornography itself is something, slightly we are hypocritic in our thinking, maybe. Though 90% of the population, or at least 70%, they do watch pornography, but they don't want to talk about it in open. It's because pornography is, this is how it is dealt with. Child pornography also under the carpet, it is going. And this is like a chain reaction, sir. You might be knowing, anyway, you know it. You are such a senior. Child sexual, this online child sexual abuse will lead to child trafficking. That will lead to something else. This is a vicious circle which we are getting into very, quickly. And you don't take any steps. This apathy is something which is really disturbing to all of us. It's high time that we need to act upon it proactively now. Proactively, we are not doing anything. We are not even reacting to any incident. This is the problem, actually, as relating to this. Children, sir, every child, let him or her be an orphan. This is the property of every citizen of this country. Anything happening to a child, that child which I was talking to you, sir, in my presentation, who died yesterday morning.
Correct. In Andhra Pradesh.
Number of, sir, you can't count so many number of injuries are present on her thighs. A 14-year-old girl. You imagine, sir. And they were inflicted not by anyone else except by her own uncles. So this child sexual abuse, generally child sexual abuse, 70% of cases it happens in the hands of the family members only.
Within the four walls.
Are the accused, perpetrators of the crime. So if when I've told you, all of you also might have felt so sad about her. Since 2 days I am so upset with this incident, sir. When we have to, every human being has to react to it. Every human being, sir. This is how we can, we have to think, what I can do, how to stop it. Everyone has to keep thinking about this. Then only we can help our own children.
I have a suggestion. See, child sex education in school, and creating awareness among children on what they should see, what they should not see, and what they should listen to, will definitely be able to bring down the crime rate on child sexual abuse online also. Because they are not aware of this. What is prohibited, people would like to see it more. If you don't prohibit it, see, for anything in this country as a welfare measure, ban is not the answer. Don't ban, regulate it. That is what I would always suggest. So if you are trying to prohibit it is something, people are curious to know what is that prohibited thing. So that is why
kind of curiosity.
Yeah, when Foxo was being brought in with Sridevi as the ambassador on the Amir Khan show of Satyameva Jayate, before the bill was passed, on what is good touch, bad touch, like that. Sex education in the school level will perhaps be able to bring down this, because they will get awareness that they should not see this. Because there has been some websites on which some youngsters have asked some children to share their nude photograph and things like that.
Ma'am, are you there?
Ma'am is logged out.
No. Let's give her some time. Let her rejoin.
Yeah. Let her come. Yeah, she's come.
Ma'am. Yeah. We have few more questions over here.
Sorry, the connection is lost.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. We have few more questions in the chat box. So
let ma'am respond whether she agrees to the child education, sex education in children.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I completely agree with you, sir. That's true. If you say no to something, they'll be more curious to
see what is it.
Yeah. To see what is it. True, sir.
So,
yes.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for it.
The question is from Kaushalya Brahma. It is most likely discussed in the presentation, but though she asked about the social media like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. don't filter and could and child sexual abuse or any pornographic contents where children are abused. In India, still we see streaming live, such as social media platform, until and unless someone reports it. Is social media do not responsible to filter? What is your view on this, ma'am?
That's what 2011 guidelines say, that grossly offensive content should not be uploaded. And if it is brought to their notice, within 8 hours or 6 hours, kuch time diya hua hai, 2011 guidelines mein, they are uploaded in Department of Information and Technology's website. They have to remove it, and also they have to preserve this content for 6 months or so to help the investigating officer as well. This is there. They are under. Then now that is all. That's all. This is what it says. Whether you can punish it or not, that it left it open. That question is left open. Avnish Bajaj's case, if you remember the Delhi public school MMS scandal, that a girl of 8th standard was having those intimate moments in between a girl and boy who were 8th standard and 10th standard were uploaded by an IIT student from Kharagpur, I believe. He uploaded it on the platform that Avnish Bajaj was running. What is the platform? Bazi.com. Bazi.com. Bazi.com में वो upload किया था, and it was uploaded in the category of education and books actually. So then the title of the content was as DPS girl having fun. What for you are waiting? Something like this was the title of it. So when Avnish Bajaj was arrested, the court has asked him. It was not finally decided yet, but it was a bail petition only. I've read the entire judgment. The court has asked him. He contended and he defended himself, saying that thousands of things are uploaded on my platform. It is not possible for us to filter every content and look into the details of the content. ये हम नहीं देख सकते हैं. But then he said the title itself is like this, no, DPS girl having fun. So how come you couldn't see? They have asked, this is one of the questions. How they are liable, how they are punishable, that is, they are punishability is a question. But 2011 guidelines says that they have to have this due diligence clause in their terms and conditions. When you enter into their platform, some conditions have to put there and you have to agree to it. And still, if the information, if you are uploading directly onto the platform without the involvement of the intermediary in uploading it, then they are not liable. If the involvement of the platform owner also is required technically, then they can be made liable. This is one point which you need to note down. Secondly, if you bring it to his notice, 2011 guidelines says that within 6 or 8 hours, the content has to be removed from their platform. That's all.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And we have another from Sudeep Kumar Khan.
Yes, sir.
He asked about how far the government agencies' protective surveillance can go so that they can remain within the ambit of Article 21, the right to privacy.
Of course, this is a clash in between the privacy and
Protective
crime,
surveillance. Crime.
the crime on child sexual abuse. But if somehow, if it, how do we, in the name of privacy, my personal view, this is my personal view, in the name of privacy, you can't jeopardize the young lives like this, right? And if the privacy of a single individual is compromised for the general good of the society, I would say you can even compromise on the right to right of privacy of a citizen. I would say so. This is my personal opinion. Though it is illegal now, my opinion is slightly unconstitutional in the wake of Puttaswamy's judgment given by the Supreme Court of this country. But in the name of privacy, if you don't do any kind of surveillance on these websites and online platforms, then we are losing our future only. Future is completely destroyed. See the number of missing cases; they'll keep increasing day by day. This is not what a civilized society shall be. This is not how it has to be. This is not, law is not there only to protect the right to privacy, right to this, right to that. but it is also there to maintain peace, public tranquility in the society, you know, and more so the criminal law. More so the criminal. This is my personal view.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope the person Sudeep has got this answer, because it's there that we have the idea that the social media platforms and all, though they maintain the term of called privacy, and now when it comes to an individual or the users, one whoever gets access to that, actually whatever the data transmits to them is not protected to be in terms of privacy. So there is a big question that how we control and how we protect the surveillance and how the surveillance work with the service providers of social media platforms. Harish sir, any addition?
Madam, if you recollect last 2 months back, parents are supposed to see that right to privacy of the children is protected and things like that. If you recollect, a mother made her two children to paint her semi-nude body and put up the video on the social media. If guardians, whom we consider as guardian angels for their children, are violating the right to privacy, by putting up such things on the social media, what is that we can expect in this country from the mother? See, very unfortunate what happened last 2 months back.
Yes, sir. Yes. Even Supreme Court also, one of the judges said, I don't want to hear this case. It's so disgusting. How can you do like this? One of the judges,
Very, very unfortunate that such a thing happened in this country.
Yes, sir.
Where we preach that mother is the first teacher for everything. She is the first, she is the person who has breached this teaching thing by putting up such adverse things on the social media through our own children.
True, sir.
Very unfortunate.
True, sir. True, sir.
Okay. So we have no more questions in the chat box.
We have one more question from Pranay Aditya sir. He talks about, he has some regarding the ILO. Just read it. I am disconnected actually, not able to see the previous chats.
Okay. Is there any significant impact of India ratified in 2017 the worst forms of child labor convention of ILO?
I can't hear you, sir.
Is there any significant impact of India ratified in 2017 the worst forms of child labor convention of ILO?
Okay. I think you're talking about some ratification of some.
Yes, it's the worst forms of child labor convention of ILO.
I don't know. I'm not aware of. I don't know.
India ratified in 2017.
I don't know what are their plans, because I don't know.
Okay. His question was that whether there is impact from that convention in India, even in
Definitely
terms of.
there would be, but what are the plans of the Indian government? I haven't read anywhere.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So I think we are over with the questions, and therefore we are coming to the conclusion of the first technical session. So at this moment, I take the privilege that with this point of discussion over today in this session, we are enlightened that we need more initiatives towards the awareness level at the enlightened, the parents, the teachers, at all levels across the users of the social media platforms. So this is a very crucial hard times that the present virtual internet world is having, which is a big challenge to root out online sexual abuse, especially the girls and women are targeted. So that is how we take forward, ma'am, from your presentations. And now I request one of our students, and she is Sangrila Narzari, to come forward for vote of thanks of this first technical session. Sangrila, please come in.
What's your name, sir? I can't pronounce it. It's very complicated.
Shangri-La.
No, your name, Warrior.
My name is Karamda Wari, ma'am.
Okay. Please spell it again. Please pronounce it again.
Karamda.
Okay.
Karamda
Very,
Wari.
very complicated and difficult name.
Complicated, ma'am. Complicated.
I was trying to read it from the beginning of the session.
With too many Brahmas over there, so there will be complicated names also being created.
Yeah.
But
So, what are you, sir? There, are you the?
I'm a faculty of this Kokrajhar Law College, ma'am.
Okay. But you thank everyone. Though I can't pronounce your name properly,
Okay.
I'm really thankful to you, sir. And Preeti, Preeti is the one
Yes,
who kept
ma'am.
on, you know.
Preeta, madam. Preeta.
Preeta, okay, Preeta
Yeah.
Bharma.
Yes,
So,
yes.
no, thank you all of you, this law college and the participants. I'm really overwhelmed to see 50 participants online. And sir, my special thanks to Hari sir from Bangalore.
Pleasure, madam. Pleasure.
And
pleasure.
no,
Pleasure interacting.
no, it's a very good, nice interaction with all of you. And then after this COVID, if possible, would like to visit your law school also in Lhasa.
Most
Yes.
welcome.
Most
Yes.
welcome, ma'am. Most welcome.
That's the same thing I have told Preeta also from my end.
Yeah, yeah.
Let the lockdown be broken so
Ma'am,
that we can meet.
We'll form a team and
Sure,
we'll
sure.
send you the
Yeah,
invite.
Yeah.
Very
You
soon.
play the host, we will be there as ghost.
I thank you so much for this. I really would like to be in touch with all of you.
Have
Yeah, ma'am.
Same here, madam.
we have Sangrila. Thanks.
Hi.
Sangrila start.
To
We
start
can't
with,
hear you, Sangrila. Not able to hear us.
please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Sangrila, remove the microphone.
Yes, to
Remove the headphone from the computer. Unplug the. Yeah. Still we can't hear you.
vote of thanks as dumb sharads.
Yeah. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, ma.
No problem, sir. And I will propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah, we are thankful to madam for her elaborate.
I request Prita to take this time.
Yes, it's an honor to have you, Santi ma'am. Actually, thank you for accepting our invitation as a speaker and decided to talk about this online sexual abuse of children. And recently, I was also informed by one of my friend that this sexual abuse is kind of happening in the online learning system also, wherein a child was found to be sharing some obscene material in the classroom. A child of 7th standard was found to be sharing some obscene material in the classroom. So that is also one of the challenge that we may have been facing at this present time in respect to online learning. So I feel that in this need of the hour to talk about online sexual abuse and to have participants from across the country and from our college and everybody who have attended, I think we are enlightened much more about it, and we will be careful from now onwards whenever we share any kind of photograph or any when we download, as ma'am has told us that nothing comes for free, everything comes at a cost. Even if we are not spending our money in terms of downloading any kind of movies or apps, but we may be risking our lives and we may be our privacy may be at stake, as told by ma'am. So I think that we'll be more careful, and we are thankful about ma'am for sharing the boys locker room incident that took place in the few months back, and thank you for tracing back the history with regard to the development of law in India and various other states implementing various other law regarding online sexual abuse. We are thankful enough for your content and for disseminating information in this regard, ma'am. Thanking you, ma'am, and we are happy to have you. And as you said, like you said, we'll definitely form a team of Harish sir, you, Mohan Rao sir, and we'll invite you soon. And because we have an information also to share, because we are supposed to move into a new campus very soon, maybe if not this year, then maybe in the 2021 we may be shifting. So we'll take that as an opportunity, and we'll host some kind of conferences or seminars in the physical world, not no more in the virtual world, and have you with us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Harish sir, and thank you
Yeah,
all.
thank you. Pleasure,
Yes.
pleasure. Thank you, madam. Nice interacting.
We'll meet again. We'll meet again
Sure,
at
sure.
1:30. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Shift your campus next year. Pandemic
Yes.
year. Don't do
Yeah.
sanitization may be required otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
This year is a bad year, so shift it in the new year.
Yes,
Yes.
New Year only, sir. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
But for webinar, it is a good year because of pandemic.
Yeah. Actually, blessing in disguise.
Blessing in